I walked away from witchcraft with a truth that most people never hear until it is too late. Money does not begin in the wall, it begins in the spirit. The very first money you release in a new year speaks before you ever do. In hidden systems, I was taught that the first financial action of a year is treated like a spiritual signature that announces what kind of harvest will follow. That is why some people work all year yet struggle, while others seem to flow with ease. As 2026 begins, the first money you spend will either align you with increase or silently agree with loss. Today, I am revealing what I once practiced, so you can step into the year with wisdom, intention, and financial freedom. When a new year opens, the first money you spend speaks before you ever do. It declares what you believe about provision, value, and worth. In the hidden systems I once followed, the first financial action was never accidental. It was treated as a statement that sets direction and permission. That first release of money trains your mind to expect either loss or increase. What you do in that moment quietly tells the year how to treat you. Many people think money responds only to effort, but intention always leads effort. The first spending carries emotional weight because it happens at a moment of reset. Your heart is open, your hopes are fresh, and your expectations are alive. If the first choice is rushed, careless, or driven by fear, it plants instability. If it is done with awareness, honor, and purpose, it plants order. Over time, your behavior aligns with that first decision without you noticing. That is how patterns form and repeat year after year. I saw people prosper not because they earned more, but because they began differently. The first money was never spent to impress others or soothe anxiety. It was released with clarity and respect. That single act shaped confidence, discipline, and patience. It told the mind that money is a tool, not a master. When the mind changes, the hands follow naturally. That is why the first step matters more than the 100 steps that come after. You cannot control everything in a year, but you can control the first declaration. When you choose intentionally, you reclaim authority over your financial story. The year listens to alignment more than ambition. The smallest first action can shift the tone of 12 months. Do not underestimate the power of a conscious beginning. Start with purpose and let the rest follow in order. It was never about how much money left your hand. It was always about where it went and why. In the systems I was trained in, the amount was almost irrelevant. A small intentional release carried more power than a large careless one. The direction of the money revealed the direction of the heart. That first choice showed whether someone valued growth, escape, comfort, or discipline. Money followed meaning long before it followed math. Many people unknowingly spend the first money on distraction because they feel they deserve relief. Others spend it on image because they want to feel ahead. These choices may feel harmless, but they teach the mind instability. The year responds to patterns, not wishes. When money is aimed toward noise, the year echoes noise. When it is aimed toward value, the year mirrors value. This is how financial tone is set without effort. I watched individuals with very little create stability because their motive was clear. Their first spending supported learning, responsibility, or service. That decision shaped how they handled every other expense. They paused before buying, they asked why before spending. Money stopped leaking because purpose stood guard. When the reason is strong, the impulse weakens. Direction quietly becomes protection. The motive behind spending is a conversation with your future. Fear-based spending tells the year you expect lack. Ego-based spending tells the year you seek approval. Purpose-based spending tells the year you are building something lasting. The year responds by offering opportunities that match the message. That is why two people can earn the same and end very differently. The difference is not income, but intention. You may think one choice cannot matter, but momentum always begins with one step. The first spending teaches your nervous system how to relate to money. It either creates calm or creates urgency. Calm leads to clarity, and clarity leads to better decisions. Urgency leads to reaction, and reaction leads to regret. This cycle repeats because the motive stays unchallenged. If you want a different financial story, you must send a different signal. Choose direction over impulse and meaning over moment. Let the first spending reflect who you are becoming, not what you are escaping. When money is guided by purpose, it starts working with you instead of against you. Begin wisely and allow the year to respond. Many people stay trapped in the same financial struggle because they repeat the same unseen beginnings every year. They change goals but never change the starting signal. In my past, I learned that cycles are not broken by effort alone, but by conscious interruption. The first aligned decision creates a crack in the old pattern. That crack allows new behavior to enter and grow. Without that interruption, the year simply copies the past. Alignment is not about perfection, it is about awareness. When the mind and intention agree, the body follows with less resistance. A conscious first decision calms the nervous system and builds trust with yourself. You stop reacting and start responding. Money begins to feel guided instead of chaotic. This internal shift is where real financial change begins. The outer results always follow the inner order. I saw people earn more yet remain stuck because their first actions stayed the same. I also saw people with modest income slowly rise because they began differently. They honored the first step and refused to rush it. That moment trained patience, discipline, and clarity. Each later decision became easier because alignment was already established. This is how momentum is built without force. Breaking cycles requires courage because it feels unfamiliar. Familiar struggle often feels safer than unfamiliar order. But the moment you choose differently, you send a new instruction to your future. The year responds to that instruction by offering matching opportunities. Small aligned choices begin attracting larger aligned outcomes. This is how one decision can reshape 12 months. You do not need to overhaul your entire life to change direction. You only need to begin with awareness and intention. Let your first action teach you who you are becoming. When alignment leads the way, patterns lose their power. Begin with clarity and allow the cycle to end here. The truth is, your financial year does not start with how much you earn, but with how you begin. The first money you spend carries meaning, direction, and intention. When you choose with awareness, you step out of old cycles and into alignment. That single decision teaches discipline, clarity, and purpose. From that moment, the year responds differently because you are moving differently. Begin wisely and let 2026 unfold with increased stability and peace.